Good evening, everyone. I will have a look if the audio is working. From my side, everything should be working. Hopefully on your side as well. Cheers, everyone. Welcome for those of you who've already joined. And Ian, I'm glad you were already ready. Let's put this thing on. You were just looking at your DNA match. Why not? It's not something I often do, but thank you, Gulchen, for confirming the sound is good. So as the title and my surroundings here already kind of hinted it, and the pigment number in the bottom as well. PO49 it is. It's I've promised this a long time before, and today, you know, let's just look at them. Toast, welcome. And everyone as well, Gulchen, Ian, Andrea, Paolo, Mark. Did I miss anyone? That's at least everyone I can see in the chat. Welcome, everyone. Today we have. I thought, you know, it would be appropriate to pour something that is kind of the color of the paint I'm going to make. This is this may be a little bit too light. I don't know. It is. I think it's quite. Looking at this, I think it's quite close. Looking through the glass in the light. Irish whiskey matured in stout barrels. Mr. Pigment, welcome. That is good. Last week was just me talking about stroopwafels. Stroopwafels. No, that's not true. Mostly was, though. And eating them in front of the camera. So you didn't miss a lot, I think. Nothing I can recall that was of a lot of importance. So first of all, I'm using the samples that I was that were given to me by Guerra. Sentient, welcome. I have a different camera for that. So Guerra sent me two samples to compare their Quinacridone and Quinacridone Gold and Quinacridone Gold Deep. Their latest release in their dispersions. But also as dry pigment for me, something I didn't have. I already looked at them. I kind of, since I couldn't wait when I got them, I kind of immediately tried it out. Mr. Pigments, you've done a comparison as well. Let's just have a look at it. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to make a tiny bit of both. And did I kind of? Oh yes. Oh, there it is. PY150. We're going to use that as a base to try to see how close we can come with a. I have a burnt sienna here, for instance, a kind of transparent burnt sienna, to see if we can come close to ordinary pigments, with ordinary pigments to Quinacridone Gold. So that's something I planned to do today, but I don't plan these things a lot, so we're not luckily we're not drinking paint. It is, you know, it would be a waste of two things. One, I wouldn't drink paint because, you know, especially these pigments are quite expensive or precious. Other one, I think it's a waste of oak barrels or what kind of barrels were used in this case? Stout barrels to put paint in them. So let's just indeed keep things separate from each other. Separate. You have such a ridiculously interesting history, Ian, or at least, you know, the things the things you share here. Amazing. Painting with whiskey, that's also a waste. Why would you paint with whiskey? Why would you paint something that has been aged like that? I mean, that's a waste. Let's get to this. And you know, at least that's what I believe. It is a waste. I have to say though, one thing, shout out to Guerra for sending these to me. Another thing, these sample jars are quite something. I mean, the lid is kind of, you see from like small makeup bottles or, you know, things. I have lids like these. It's plastic, but this jar, I think it's lip gloss, isn't it? I don't know who knows these things here. Or lipstick or something, I don't know. This is glass. These are high quality, thick little sample jars. Oh, that's interesting. Because it was too cold to paint with water. Yeah, it doesn't really, but like I said, use, I don't know, something neutral like vodka, something that hasn't been aged. If it's just for the alcohol content, you know. Oh. Lip gloss, right? Yeah, I thought my daughters are way too young to use that. Or to know what it is, actually. I think they know what it is. They absolutely know what it is, but they don't use it. Apparently, I know. So yeah, lip gloss it is. So let's just make a tiny drop of the original Guerra Quinacridone Magenta. Not different at all from what I've used with these Quinacridone pigments. So till now everything feels kind of similar to what I'm used to. I'm just going to have a look if I can crank up the I think it's contrast in the camera. Contrast is quite high though. Let's have a look what I think it needs to be a little bit higher. I want to have a little bit more depth in the... Did I say magenta? I'm sorry, Quinacridone Gold. I'm so used to... Yes, because I was just, you know, before the live I was talking about the magenta video I posted a while back. But it's obviously not Quinacridone Magenta, as you all know, because the title also says Quinacridone Gold and PO49 also in the bottom. So yeah, you are related to Princess Diana. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, okay. I can't beat that. Yeah, I can't beat that with my kind of far away connection to Yves Klein, but okay. You win, Ian, definitely. Oh, that's nice. Cool, Chen. Gandash Neocolor 2. Let's have a look. After this, I'm going to have a look what I have in my drawers, because I had some. Okay, this is my ADHD going completely bonkers right now, but I have some really awesome Faber-Castell watercolor crayons, pastels, I don't know. And they have their Albrecht Dürer pencils, their watercolor range of pencils. But these are wax pastels, crayons, water soluble, and they discontinued those a long time ago, I believe. At least a few years, and I've never seen them since. And I got those secondhand, I think. Yeah, I know for sure I got those secondhand. Just because, you know, apparently it was kind of, they were giving it away, price of, you know, someone who just got rid of all their art supplies, and that was one of the items they sold. Caran d'Ache usually is quite transparent in their use of pigments, mostly in their professional range. Their luminance is, you know, or luminance, I don't know. Their top range and their water soluble top range. I forgot the name of that. But those have pigment information on the box even. It's kind of why I think, by the way, Faber-Castell has that as well on one. I don't know. I'm not quite sure anymore. Also, I'm looking at. Oh yeah, I have the boxes over there. I was looking at where the box is. So this is the regular Quinacridone Gold. My camera can't handle the vibrancy of this reddish orange. So just to have a look. With this, which shows it a lot better actually. Although, no, that's not a lot better. It's kind of, this is too grayish. This is way warmer, like in real life, than this is. But the contrast here is kind of right. Right, so you get the point on what this is supposed to look like. This is like completely washed out. I need to check that. Am I going to do that now? Probably not, but I'm already working on it. How can we change that? How can we change that? I'm quickly going to do a switch here. I know, I'm sorry about this. There, it had a kind of a... For me, it is just too washed out. Cranking up the saturation really doesn't, well, does a little bit to a certain point. I'm sorry, I'm going back to the chat. Okay, I need to go way back to the chat. You are chatty. Let's have a look, which is good. Ian is also distantly related to King Willem Alexander as well, but on your father's side. So your two-side royalty. Well, that's... I don't know if I may still call you Ian. I don't know if that's enough for you. My apologies for that. From now on, at least I will call you Mr. Jackson. I think, you know, when you're related to one royalty, you're kind of related to more of them. The royalty thing is a little bit of a... I don't want to use the word, but... Sylvie's welcome. Gifo, welcome. Thanks for joining. Sentient, I don't know if I've said hi to you. I know, I think I replied to you already, but hello as well. So you know that you're related to someone who invented the automatic fertilizer / seed distributor. You can get very far with connections like that. I don't know if it ever helped you, but... Oh, that's nice, Gulchen. That is a... Oh, and good, Ian, that you're thinking of it. The 3D printer of Sylvie. I fully understand. I know you're replying to Ian, but I fully understand why that has... well, obviously been more important. I just took the completely wrong brush for doing this. I'm going to do it anyway. No, I can't. This is way too small. Why did I take that? This is better. At least it's a little bit better. So between Christmas and New Year's Eve, I kind of took the time to clean all my brushes and do some maintenance on them. Regarding some good brush soaps and, you know, clean everything properly. So they're feeling like as if I'm taking or using a new brush, which is very nice, but sometimes also need to double check if I'm not constantly taking new brushes. So I'm going to let this dry. Maybe I can put a little bit more mask tone in there. I think I can do that. For the spectrometer, I don't need a lot. That is enough. And let's do it for a wash as well. Now for a watercolor, this thing also, you know, for an acrylic even more so, but for a watercolor you can get quite close mixing this. So the interesting thing is PO49 got discontinued a while back, and everyone here knows it, but for those of you who don't know, rewatching it, or if you're here and you don't know, there has been a certain brand that bought all of the supply of the remaining PO49 pigments, so they had enough supply to last them for years, making them the only ones selling a single pigment Quinacridone Gold. And why do I say single pigment? Quinacridone Gold was replicated by a lot of companies by using nickel azo yellow and quinacridone burnt orange, PO48. you're getting really close with that mix. Really depending on what kind of PO48 you're using. I don't have a lot of versions of PY150, nickel as yellow, and the ones that I do have all look the same. So they're probably from the same manufacturer. Different suppliers, but it can be the same manufacturer. So other brands use that mix, and eventually the brand still selling PO49 ran out of it as well, had to mix it. Same mix, I think same mix, yeah, PY150, PO48. But unfortunately that has been discontinued 2 years back. PO48 has been discontinued as well. For this very simple reason, and that is with Quinacridone Gold as well as PO48 Quinacridone Burnt Orange. We as pigment users, artists, pigment users, we are on the bottom of the pigment chain, comparing it to the food chain. We're literally on the bottom. And kind of on the top is like the big industries, plastic coatings, car coatings, like automotive coatings and things like that. PO48 in watercolor is amazing because of its range. It can go from a really kind of warm leaning orange to a very vibrant, almost yellow-like wash, and you can mostly see it in these two. With an earth pigment, you're getting something like this, right? With most earth pigments. For instance, a burnt sienna would give this, while a raw umber would give this. For instance, a raw sienna. Let's say raw sienna and burnt sienna. When you're working in plastics or coatings, you don't need the transparency. You don't want the transparency, actually. You just want a solid color. And there are pigments, especially iron oxides, that are way cheaper to produce than these quinacridones, and easier as well. So that's, in this case, that's why this was discontinued. And there is a lot of misinformation going on that all the pigments that are being discontinued are discontinued because of the automotive industry, which isn't the case. Sometimes it's just finances, like literally one is cheaper than the other, no matter what. Sometimes it's the toxicity, that one thing, you know, will be replaced by something else that isn't as toxic or not as toxic at all. So there's loads of reasons that things are being replaced. In this case, it was the car industry. And I've never been a user of the original Quinacridone Gold PO49, like you see over here. I've never used that before I started using paint, before I started making paint. I did buy PO48 Quinacridone Burnt Orange. I bought that like still in stock at Kramer. You know, no one knew that that was going to be discontinued as well. I still bought, like, David Kramer sold me the last few bottles of it after it was from the website, which was a very, very, very kind thing to do of him. They still had some things behind, but also I've never used that, so I'm not a person that, you know, will really miss it in a way that I can't use it anymore. I still have enough of the pigment left to last me a while, but, you know, if I were a big company, it wouldn't even last me a day probably. So, you know, working in a very small scale has its advantages. I have a I wouldn't say lifetime supply of PO48, absolutely not. It's not even close, I think. I do think I have a lifetime supply of PY110 from last week, probably PY153 as well, because that's literally my favorite yellow, which has been discontinued since 2012. And every time I see a bottle on a shelf, I just buy that. And I think I'm afraid it's going to come back as well. I don't know. I'm not sure if it is. I have a lot of pigment I just need to make paint out of. But if I end up having too much of the pigment to sell, I think I will just use them in mixes as well, because PY153 is a wonderful mixer. So yeah, there's that. This is the original PO49. And I don't even know how I started this, by saying, I don't know, just giving some information for those of you who didn't know or don't know. It is, I'm still looking back a little bit. I hope your husband will recover really, really quickly, Sylvie. I also saw a comment about a PO49 acrylic. I don't know whose it was. I want to say Paolo, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, Paolo. Winsor & Newton still sells real Quin Gold in their acrylics. Acrylics is just, I don't think the transparency that, this needs, like shines in acrylics. So yeah. Yeah, if the I can do that, Sylvie, not a problem. For your collection, I think I can do that. Mr. Pigments, if the bags are still okay, I'm interested in some of it as well, but to be honest, only if it's a different version than this one, because yeah, only then I think it would add something to whatever my collection is, or if you can share more what I can offer. So this is kind of dry. I'm going to, I'm saying this is kind of dry, but the webcam is not working. Why is it not working? Let's have a quick looky here. And there you go. I don't know. Yeah, dot pen is a good one. I was looking at it. Gulchen, thank you for reminding me again. It's a little bit runny. The camera did freeze. But runny or not, we're going to add it to the dot pen anyway. And I'm going to put it in the corner over there. I'm going to clean this. Little sips. I think Quinacridone Gold isn't made for anything other than watercolors. Like, obviously it's made for different things, but it only adds something in this medium, I think. Is the camera working again for everyone? I mean, it's here. I saw it freeze here as well. Oh, yeah. So, Gulchen, yes, about that. Thank you for for mentioning that too. So the shop reopening, I've been wanting to do that for literally 2 months now. It's 2 months ago when I actually planned on opening it, and then didn't, you know, my shoulder, and now the shoulder is kind of coming back again. So I don't wanna do too much. Taking it a little bit slow with my left arm. So I'm probably going to. Is it still? Yeah, it's kind of. Sometimes it is like I see like the kind of flickering thing in the camera. Last time it froze. I want to try to reopen it within the next 2 weeks, maximum. But there's a lot of planning and things I need to do still, not only for the shop but here as well. Checking on some things, checking on the stock I have of some pigments, things I couldn't find during a live. I've all written them down on a small piece of paper, which I thought, you know, I really should have that because it's actually in my shop. And it's going to be my Etsy, yeah. For now, especially with the I've kind of lost the word. The frequency of me opening the shop or me, you know, medical shite stuff. I can set up a web shop, but it only helps me, like financially, taking away the Etsy part, the Etsy share. If I can do that like constantly, and for now the reach and the ease of using a platform like Etsy is just way more convenient for me. So yeah, there's that. You know, I'm doing too many things, and that's the truth, and I want to admit that. I don't think it's a bad thing, but you know, I also, let's go into it like the 3D scan of the, oh, where is it? There it is. Kind of lost my mouse. The 3D scan of my muller, which actually came out really great. It's not a colored version. That will be next, but I wanted to see if the texture was right first, and the amount of details in this is just crazy. So that's, you know, these are all cracks in the paint. So this is, I'm really happy with how this turned out. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, you know, because of ethical reasons that people have against Etsy, the large share of income that Etsy takes per sale, there's loads of reasons to have a look at something else, but there's also a lot of reasons why Etsy is still kind of appealing to me. They do the tax part of some countries. They you have like the buyer and then seller protection thing if you ship in with insurance, which I always do. You have the findability, searchability, Googleability. You know, you're high on Google. There's loads of things that are very appealing still to me that make it a little bit easier. I can connect my Etsy to more shipping tools. You know, this. I can do it with Shopify as well or other platforms. I can even do it with my Ko-fi, like setting up like tiers in my Ko-fi. I can do a shop via that way as well. So yeah, there's pros and cons like with both options. And for now, for me, this is just the easiest thing. And sometimes easy Oh, that's scary and good to know, by the way. Sometimes easy is just preferable. Ah, thank you, Mark. To be honest, me neither. Apart from the medical part, not opening my shop, like the feeling that like luck isn't on your side and everything kind of is working against you, getting a step further to open your shop, like the kind of feeling, it gets bigger. So I really have to open it because the threshold here, like the mental threshold for me is almost at anxiety level. Like opening the shop isn't supposed to be like a scary thing. It's supposed to be a good thing, and for me now it's getting. I don't want to look up against against it. So I don't want to treat it as something scary almost. But oh, that's annoying, Sylvie. Especially with the like when you go your route via Shopify, and you need to think about all those things yourself. That is exhausting. Yeah, there's enough mica ones. That is for sure. For me, it's the medical part, restraint that I have still for my shoulder is it stopped me from doing some putting some work into some YouTube videos because they were about pigment, but also making pigment is part of my video, so, or making paint into them. And the ideas kept coming, which is good. I'm very happy that that doesn't stop, because I've had times that kind of the creativity stops and then it all goes down from there. For me, once the creativity stops in my head, it just goes downhill, and I end up in a, I'm not going to be shy about it, I ended up in a depression. So it's kind of a sign. It's not because of it stopped, but when it stops, I'm mentally not like in the right place to be or stay creative, which is a big sign that it's not going well, and I need to read those signs. I need to take them seriously. So, but the ideas kept coming, so that's good, but I couldn't execute them. So the list keeps growing. With lists growing, that there's no checking, there's no crossing ideas from your list because you've done them. It only keeps growing, and because of that shoulder I couldn't, and there was my shop, then there was, all kind of things. And instead of something that is supposed to be nice and creative, something that is supposed to be positive, something that has a kind of therapeutic aspect to it, making paint, also the social interaction here, which apart from one Wednesday, I think I've kept going for quite a few months now. So I'm really happy with that. I'm really looking forward chatting with you guys and seeing you every Wednesday, and just sharing, my stuff. You keep coming back, so that's really, really positive for me. But all the other things, like the lists keep growing. The whiskey bottles get more empty. No, joking. I don't drink that much at all. But the list keeps growing, and just physically can't because of that damn shoulder. It gets such a frustration, and that frustration feels like I'm letting myself down, which is ending up in just stress because of not being able to do something. And stress is toxic. I think that's the most toxic thing your body can have without you immediately knowing it. But that stuff is bad for you. So I want to avoid that, but sometimes you can't. That's very simple. So handling stress is something else I learned a lot about over the last years, actually. Handling stress and recognizing it. I think that's even more important. Recognizing when something is too much, when something is not going well, and all the signs that your body or your mind give. I don't want to get spiritual, but it's not spiritual, it's more medical than spiritual. But recognizing those signs and then acting accordingly. I think that's what schools need to teach. More important than any other thing. Especially in a society we're living in now. Handling stress, or handling, I don't know, staying mentally fit, mentally healthy, and doing your taxes. I think those are two subjects that schools need to teach, and just drop everything else. I mean, keep a little bit of art class, right? Keep the creativity going. For everything else, we have ChatGPT, right? I mean, I'm joking, right? So I'm going to write it down, because especially I I didn't know I was going into serious stuff like this. So my apologies for that. Doing that without any warning. I need to write it down. PO49 regular. So there's a lot of, I will show it with my phone camera. Let's have a look. So there's a lot of drying shift happening already, because eventually that will look like this. Now I already spoiled it, but yeah, so there you go. So PO49. It has quite a large drying shift. Like most quinacridones, it's a little bit. I made it a little bit too watery for the dot pen, but it was just a pinch of pigment. I don't think we are the only country, Gulshan, that is crazy, especially at the moment. What? Wait, Paolo. My international rate is 10 euros internationally, and that's kind of like within Europe. Europe, wow, within Europe for me that's I think 950 insured, and 11 insured to the US. But I kind of went to a middle ground and you know, made it 10 for everyone. Shall I send it to you? Paolo, I can literally just, you know, for 20 euros, if it is all small things, I can still have like an A4 letterbox that fits in your letterbox. I can still ship it for 10. Okay. Well, that's okay as well. So I have the quinacridones drying here. I will dry it in a minute. In the meantime, I'm just going to sip from the whiskey, and after that, I'm going to have a look with you to see with a PY150 nickel azo yellow as a base if we can replicate PO49, you know, for home use. Like for things you are going to mix or use pure, to see how close we can get. Obviously with the knowledge that we already have from the companies that made mixes before, using that as a starting point. But yeah. What are other things? Yes, the Faber-Castell stuff. Let's have a look. I have a fancy box over here. And I have, that's the polychromos, pencils, pastels, no, it should be this one. Albrecht Dürer aquarelle sticks. Wow, that's difficult. It's a German name with aquarelle, which is a French word, with sticks. So that's 3 languages. But it's this. Albrecht Dürer aquarelle sticks. Aquarelle sticks. If I say it in very plain Dutch, like I do right now, I can just say Albrecht Dürer aquarelle sticks, which is way more easier than using 3 different accents. So sorry for that. Let's have a look at those. I've never used these. These came in like a fancy, and they have like a white layer of oxidation on them. I think it's oxidation. I think it's because of the temperature differences that they had, because they had. But they feel nice. They feel not rubbery, soft, and they smell like they smell like the basic school crayons, like a cheap version of Crayola crayons. And that's not, it's not meant to be a negative thing to say it like that, but, or not maybe a cheaper, I don't know. They basically smell like Crayola, I think. No, this has been, they discontinued this product a while back. I don't know what kind of while, because I made it a long time ago. I made a box containing like all the Faber-Castell. I can show it with the mobile as well. Let me have a fancy quick look. I made this box here, having the polychromos pastels, then the pastel pencils, which I did use, by the way, polychromos regular, Albrecht Dürer regular, mono regular, and just, you know, pencils and erasers and things like that, and this one. So I made that box a while back, and it comes with, like, this is metal, tiny pellets. The nice thing about these, in my opinion, although I've never used these, but the nice thing about those sets are they all have the same color range. So their collection of 12 colors is always the same 12 colors. The collection of 36 or 40 is always kind of the same. And I really like that, because when I still painted drawing, drew, what is in the whiskey? No, it's not the whiskey. I'm also very tired, so that's why I started a little bit earlier today. When I was still making art, solved it. I used to work in layers. Mostly started with the watercolor base. I went over it with color pencils or pastels, or kind of trying layering things. And sometimes, especially my last work before I started making paint, and actually just, I didn't get rid of it, but I needed to store everything because I didn't have any space anymore, because of, you know, something called collecting pigments, something like that. I don't know. My last work at that base, like the watercolor and color pencils, pastels, and the mixed media stuff, with a fully surrounded gouache background, or surrounding in one color, monotone background with a contrasting creature. I was drawing creatures, sculpting creatures, fantasy creatures as well, just my own imagination. And I used all of these, and my Caran d'Ache pencils, and all my other pencils are over there in little collections of colors. I used all of those for that work, but I never used these. This was just like, okay, they have a different product. I found a different product. I made a little different drawer for it, because that little cupboard I made myself. So yeah, different times. Are they India ink based? Paolo, can you explain? Because I never really. This was my pre-pigment nerd phase. Altis Gem, Veronica, welcome. I'm also going to link what kind of nail color I have. Am I still on camera? No, not really, but I'm here. Hello. Okay, I can do it from this corner, then you can see my back, which isn't interesting at all, but at least you can see me. I'm not escaping. Still here, but I need to move some things around first. Like my extreme close-up lens, which is just standing here, and it doesn't need to fall down. Okay. Let me have a quick look. I have nail color. I knew I had them, but I don't know if these are the new ones or old ones. Which version is this? I don't know. This is something I'm very ashamed of as well, because I've never used these as well. I've never used these. It's like, this is a, can I show it to you? I could probably show it to you. Let's have a look. This is literally, that's dust. Oh, I've used this once, I think. Oh, this is so bad. But then again, they are retired now, but I had a very good art supply shop nearby, and they sold these individually, but also they sold these the soft pastels from Rembrandt, I think, individually, and all those things. And still during my time on the Art Academy, I used a lot of these things, especially the soft pastels. So buying them in sets was way cheaper than buying them individually, and still finding out, okay, I actually need that other color, and I need that color as well. And then they started selling Sennelier soft pastels and Sennelier oil pastels, and that was a completely different. Thank you, Gulchen. I was mind blown by the difference in quality. And I've never used handmade soft pastels. I made them myself at the very beginning of making paint. But I lost the name. There's a Unison, a UK brand. Beautiful way how they work. Their beautiful process, what they share with Jackson's art as well. The behind the scenes look. It's really how I make my paint, but then as soft pastels, is just such a beautiful process to see. And I've never used it, so there's no comparison there. But the soft pastels that I eventually bought from Sennelier and the oil pastels, which were so creamy, was almost like drawing with lipstick. I don't know. If you've used them, you know what I mean. They started to sell those in sets and per color as well, open stock. And then they stopped. The store closed. They stopped. So they had a sale, and I think it was, instead of 2-3 euros per pastel, it was 50 cents. I have bought a disgusting amount of pastels back then. Shortly after, our teacher changed, which we had back then, and the new teacher that we have didn't like it. Didn't like pastels. So no assignment that we had after that used pastels until we could use them ourselves in our free kind of work. So that was harsh, especially as a student. So I still have these, but they remain amazing. Sylvie, that's what kind of stopped me as well. The oil pastels. I have a beautiful set of oil pastels from Sennelier, and I've barely used them. Sebastian, well, were you here before? I'm just scrolling up very quickly now. You were not, were you? Sebastian, welcome. No, it's not like more checking myself if you were here before. Because I was afraid I didn't notice you. But there you are. Have I tried making pigments yet from an ochre? I did. With the method I've learned before the holidays, I did. And I will show you when I find it. I had like I'm making an Yves Klein Blue sponge here with Yves Klein Blue paint, International Klein Blue. But I had like a glass jar like this with ochre that I made. So I'm going to look for that. I'm kind of reading everything back. Artisiem. Veronica, I can see if I can't put up a pic of mine on Instagram and list the pigments. Maybe that will help when it comes to newer. That would be interesting for those of you who want that. Did I buy the machine in the end? Not yet, but I kind of agreed on an agreement. I don't know if I can say if that's no, I can't say that. I've had another test for my shoulder. Now they're checking the blood. In a few weeks, I'm going to get they're going to have a new ultrasound. I'm waiting for that, and I agreed to kind of keep it in under my watch here. Also because the guy was interested in if I could actually make 3D scans of the housing of the scanner, because one of his 3-roll mills in the lab is basically the housing is broken, and it's a very old one. He says, it would be nice if we can look for a 3D printed version of that, and we can kind of agree on something there. So I can use this to see if I can 3D scan, take it apart and 3D scan the outer shells, and taking the shell off is really easy. So I'm not touching the inner side at all, but taking the outside off is quite easy. And making proper scans of it and proper prints of it that they fit mechanically as well. So there's another thing that kind of that works for me. I mean, I can do that without using like my shoulder at all. Plus, it's like a win-win if it works for me, and I can keep it a little bit longer, so more time for me to practice now and then. Still need to find a good way to pre-mix the pigments with my binder. So that's the only part I'm kind of still looking for. That hasn't. I didn't find the perfect solution for that yet. Let me just put it like that. And it's a very blue sponge indeed. Sebastian, you're still waiting for a lift. I'm just going to share it here because otherwise people won't believe the combination of malachite, azurite, and some biltong. That's too kind of you. But there's no hurry at all, so don't feel any pressure, please. You were watching a video about Frisian language, and it's very easy for the English to understand. Well, it's not easy for the Dutch to understand, so it's wow. Rick, welcome. $7 New Zealand for a small pack of stroopwafels. That is crazy. It's like I bought the big pack I had last week. It's gone now. I don't know. It fully disappeared. I bought that for like €2. So that is crazy. Just going to ask a question. Is everyone still here? Because it goes from 19 viewers, which is, I think, like a record high for such a period. It went down to 3. So is there anyone else than Ian, Sylvie, Gulshen, Rick? Well, that's already 4. Paolo asked a question, that's 5, but it went like from 19 to 3 here. Or are you just with a few of you still? I don't know, that was super weird. Sebastian's still here, Sylvie as well. ATCM, or Veronica, I'm sorry, Gulchen, Toast, Paolo, okay, not... Paolo, seriously, thank you, JD. Okay, no, that's... You see 17 on your screen. Maybe 2 people have blocked you. I don't know. No, I'm sorry. Now 21. I only see 19 still. So that's a difference as well. That's weird. Maybe 2 people have blocked me. Now that's not possible if they're viewing me. I don't know. I only see 19. It went back to 19. For me, it went from 19 to 3 to 19 again, but that lasted a bit, so that's why I asked. I don't pay attention to that too much, but whenever YouTube is giving me like the banner of the bit stream is too high, and then it just goes down from the, I'm just checking everything. Thank you, everyone. That's a shame, because when I'm the stuff I see online for food things, like the really interesting things, is mostly like New Zealand and Australian stuff, to be honest. Ian loves frikandellen. Okay, that's nice. They can be nice. I do like them, to be honest, but sometimes. Bremsklutsen. I don't know if that was pronounced right, but that's how I read it. It's how my head pronounced it on the inside, and it just went out. So there you go, Sylvie. I did it before you asked it. What is it? I'm saying things here. I don't know what they are. Okay. Thank you very much. What is duikboot in Holland? Well, it's basically the same, like the submarine you're talking about, like that. That's also duikboot. Onderzeeër. Yeah, I fully lost the word onderzeeër. U-boat, U-boat. I don't know how you. That is my Englishification of German words. I only hear those words in English, so that's kind of like not doing it for me. So we are. The quinacridones are ready. So let's give them a scan. Screen share. Oh, that's you. No, that was way behind. Is my YouTube that much behind? My YouTube is that much behind. Yes. But I don't want to show you old stuff. I want to show you what I have over here. So there we go. This one. So we're first going to, I'm going to sit here with the microphone. We're first going to measure the wash of the regular PO49. So this is the wash, the regular PO49. This actually doesn't feel right for me. I will explain to you why a little bit later. So this is going to be the wash of the Quinacridone Gold Deep, which is almost identical. I could have made the wash a little bit stronger, or that. Also, I need to take that into account. This line, the curve is identical. This was a little bit lower, but just a millimeter. So right now the regular PO49 in its mass tone. So like an almost flat-ish curve to 510 here, and from there it goes up to 570, and then it's a steeper curve. So let's have a look what the Quinacridone Gold Deep does with this. Let's have a look. Only this went a little bit higher, but that was it. Basically, there's not a lot of difference in these. And I'm just going to share, I don't know how I'm going to share this. I'm going to do it like this. I know this is a completely washed out image, and I really need to fix this with my at least reds and yellows, but this is the regular, this is the deep. These are the things I just scanned, and the difference is not worth mentioning. Yeah. I have a PV19, loads of them around me, but yes. Thank you, Rick. This is so bad it is funny. I missed a lot of the chat. I'm just scrolling up, like kind of. I see the dust boat and U-boat things, and are you Limburger, Gulchan? Really? I'm so sorry about last time I talked about the dialects I heard from Limburg. I'm just from Gelderland, basically. Never lived anywhere else. Like, different places, but all within that. No, that's not true. I lived in Brabant as well. For quite a while, actually. Almost forgot about that. Yeah, I know PV19 and PO49 are related, but... Oh, you're right back. Okay, just leave us with that cliffhanger. Thank you, Paolo. I have a comparison of that spectrum somewhere here. One moment, please. It is... Oh god, that's something that fell. Okay, I need to check it. Is it really bad? Oh, I was lucky. Okay. Sorry. Oh. Really could have done. Could have. Very bad for the things that were behind my cupboard over there. I have my Quinacridone thing, which I made myself, but it was behind something, and some other things fell. But basically, what this is, and I will show it to you like this. PV45, PR202, PR... This is interesting, just seeing this here from me and not even paint or my face. That feels very personal. PR55, PR202, PR122, PV42, PV19, PR209, PR207, PO47, PR206, PR48, and PR49. These are all the Quinacridones I have in different colors, And I have a range of PV19s. I have a couple of PV55s, a few PV48s, and a few PO49s now. I think I have 2 PR202s. And that's it for the bragging part, I think. But yes, Paolo, if you are here, oh, there you are. There you go. My Quinacridone family, which I made a while back. And these, what you see on the top here, by the way, these are all smudges of paint. So I can actually use them as like dots to re-wet and paint something else. But these are the swatches. Thank you, Sebastian. Yes, it was a blooper. I missed a lot of the chat again. May I join you on your yacht, Ian? That sounds like it's really something I could enjoy too. Or just to South Africa, and then I visit Sebastian and hitchhike my way back. Yeah, you should. You really should win the lotto to buy stroopwafels where you live, Rick. I mean, that's really just ridiculous. I mean, I can. Someone who's really liking something on Instagram. Sorry, I thought I was being cold, but that was just someone who liked my previous 1,000 posts or something. I don't know. Oh, thank you so much, Sebastian. And it's working again. Thank you so much. Let's buy the 3-roll meal. Yes, let's really do that. That's good that you're saying this, because I will add this to the or will reduce this, add this to the amount, reduce it of the amount of my Ko-fi, but also my YouTube deposit will be, should have been today-ish, I don't know. I will check that and I will configure that in the amount of oil. Thank you so much, Sebastian. Really, thank you. That's a good reminder. That also goes on the list, but that's a different list. That goes on here. So I'm not trying to deal here in anything, like especially not illegally, because those kind of deal things are, that's, you never should do that. But pigment wise, I'm not like a reseller, but I can, for those of you who are interested here, like our pigment family, if you're interested in manganese blue, send me a private message. Why? Because I think I have enough. If you're interested in it. I went during Christmas-ish, not during Christmas. It wasn't like everyone was at Christmas dinner and I was here in my studio just looking for pigments. But in the holidays, during the holidays, I was looking through some stuff here. And there are things like I think I can never use up in my lifetime, even if I would constantly daily sell a lot of the paint. I don't think I can. I would have enough of it for the rest of my life. So it might be, you know, a nice thing to share it with a little bit of more people as well. That was what I was thinking, but maybe that was just because it's, you know, Christmas, and I was way too positive, and now I'm just, you know, saying it out loud. Maybe it sounds really stupid, and I'm just going to keep everything for myself. Screw you guys. No, just joking. No, for just those of you here, send me a private message on Instagram. If you are interested in manganese blue, I can see how much it would be for the amount of you of what you want, and also the shipping. Yeah, Sebastian, that's true. I mean, especially like your, I would, but that's because our languages are quite similar-ish, that it feels you're so much closer. But I forget it sometimes. Yeah. Let's get the what is this? These are the moments that I feel that I don't know whether to feel kind of ashamed a little bit of my way of collecting. I don't know if that's even the right thing to, or that I should be happy. I don't know. I just found another box of these Albrecht Dürer aquarelle sticks. But then it's the 20 version, not the 40 version. So, oh my god, still new. I also, again with the, I should, oh, I think I'm still, I think I still have the, I'm sorry, there we go. Do I still have the 3D scanner in the eye? Yeah, I think that's it. I'm using too many USB devices. So these are the 20, this is the 20 color range, which also comes with a small palette. And as you might have noticed, it says never being used. So. I think that's a nice way to look at it, Sebastian. We're cousins, just far away cousins. Okay, so that's this, and I also see something else here, and I really want to know what it is. Okay, some things are just really, I have no idea what these are. I don't even know if I want to show it to you. These just look like chapsticks. This is Smells like a Vaseline kind of base. Also from Faber-Castell, but I think it's a... Oh, Gelatos. I think it's like a hobby brand of theirs, or a... Gelatos. Oh, that feels so waxy. I'm kind of shocked by the things I'm finding here. This is really annoying as well. Like, okay, wonderful for crafting. Okay, that's good to know. I think I'm going to give these to my girls. I don't know if this is like, I don't know if they would like this. This one's not going down anymore. Like, why is this not okay? Not touching that. Yeah, but okay, so I can share it to you. I have like a box. I have like a big box of these with glitters and like these are all so happy colors. Such happy colors. And a nice like cardboard box drawer thingy. Acid-free pigment sticks glide on creamy, vibrant color and blend beautifully with or without water. Okay, I'm finding things here. This is... I thought I did this during the holidays, right? Looking through stuff and kind of cleaning a little bit, and now I'm finding things all within one drawer. This is crazy. And I think here's something as well. Oh no, this is okay. This is just something more regular. Okay, I'm just closing it because that's like a it's a very interesting drawer, but I have more art supplies for my kids here that I can just give to my kids that they can ever use. Yeah, I have an issue. Okay, I'm going to clean this, and then we're going to the next step, trying to kind of recreate a Quinacridone Gold-ish mix. I have to say, I'm really happy that my kids love drawing and just crafting and, you know, things like that. They love doing that. In the morning, they barely ask for the television, and they just start, you know, just before they go to school, before breakfast, they start drawing or playing, and that's just a joy. Lately, they've been watching Bluey, and I have to admit, I actually enjoy it as well. Old days. Is it normal for Green Earth, just to really get back to the pigment stuff? That's good. Is it normal for Green Earth to go more paste-like? Yes, it is. It is a very thirsty pigment, as I like to call those. It is also a pigment that falls out of the pen easily if you don't use enough binder. It's also a very transparent pigment which is low in tinting strength. So low in tinting strength, it means that it's not a very strong mixer. Anything you would mix with it will overpower it really quickly, and it's so transparent that, you know, that also works against that factor. Using more binder feels like it's not enough pigment, but it actually needs a little bit more binder to stay like a paint. Yeah, so Sebastian, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for your donation, for your super chat, for your kindness and your presence here. Good luck on the painting. Hopefully the house is going well as well. Say hi for me there, if there is anyone around you here now, right now. Again, thank you very much, and hope everything works out well tonight for your painting. Oh, you're going to go for blackberry pie. Foraging blackberries to make blackberry pie. And just I need it to be summer here right now. Thank you again, Sebastian. Have a great night. Have a great rest of the day. Rick, best of luck, and also thank you for joining. Hopefully your blackberry pie works out well as well. And enjoy. Or enjoy giving. So yeah, where was I? Bluey? No, I think I kind of finished that. I don't know. It is nice. I don't know if anyone here have seen it. You probably don't put it on if you don't have any kids, but just try it. I don't know. There are episodes. They have such a deep message, which my kids just don't get, and I'm just looking amazed at it. Like, how did they put this in a just children cartoon, and make it so deep and so like you're so investigated. Is that the right word? In it, as a parent, well, my kids also enjoy it in a fully different way. So yeah, I think that's a really amazing thing that artists in that area can do. So let's get back to this part of the stream. It is 10:15-ish, 10:13. Infested. Thank you very much, Ian. I'm like, sometimes there's extra syllables just flying out and I'm just making up words. Sometimes they're right and sometimes it's just not. Invested in it. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, but thank you. This one is better. This one just bounced. But then this one is even better. Different kind of metal. As you can hear, it's bouncier. It's also lighter. And also more balanced. Sorry for everyone who was wearing headphones. That must have been awful. The thing is, when I'm speaking in English, I'm thinking in English. And the words are kind of there here, but then they need to come out. And sometimes they take like the tourist routes and ends up being weird. PY 150 with PBR 7. Nickel Azuelo with burnt sienna. So we're going to make this our kind of first base to make a Quinacridone Gold substitute for something that is... oh, that is sad. Ian. I have like one of my... I think I'm kind of getting a cold, I don't know. Feels like one of my ears need to pop or something, I don't know, it feels really annoying. This was definitely not enough binder. And it is kind of logical because on the eye that was enough binder for this, but I'm using an earth pigment, PBR7, which is one of the thirsty ones. The yellow, the intense yellow that you see here, when you're with me, because you don't see it through the cam, so I'm going to do it here. The intense yellow that you see right now here, through that kind of, you have a like brownish, and then that intense yellow that sticks on the slab. That is the nickel azo yellow that shines through. So that's the thing we're after. All right, so that's what would kind of gives us the Quinacridone Gold look. There used to be a Quinacridone Gold, or there still are Quinacridone Golds that still are called Quinacridone Golds, because it mimics PO49, but it uses PO48, so it's still a quinacridone, right? Other names for it are, and chat, please help me with this because you probably know better than I do. So look, are there any mixes that don't use it here? Nickel azo gold or things like that. Just things that I can't find one now. Why am I not using a muller? I have no idea. Why is this thing moved? Oh, I know why this is moved, because I was putting the cable back. So on the eye, this is way too yellow for me. On the camera, it just looks shite. Nothing like what is on my slab, at least. Have you lost all your photos, Ian, in that fire? For me, this looks too yellow, but since it might have a drying shift as well, we're just going to try out what it gives us. Oh, 4x5. That is amazing. Mine is a full frame camera as well, but a little bit older, still working perfectly though. But again, don't have the time for that. Okay, so this is already kind of closer than I thought it would be. And I'm just going to do exactly the same thing as I've done before with Quinacridone Gold to see how this, now this isn't dark enough. So that's one thing that is sure, but more curious about the wash. I have Nikon as well. The most beautiful Nikon lens I have is a 135mm 2.0 fixed focal length portrait lens, which is a weird one because it has a double aperture. You can, I don't know what the exact name is, but you can change the bokeh in the back and in the front of the subject separately from each other. I don't know how it works. It is my most beautiful portrait lens I have. It's a long one, 135 for a portrait lens, but and it needs tweaking digitally for the colors. It's an old lens, but sharp as a knife, and it just gives such an interesting characteristic to the pictures. It's something very unique that I've never seen in other lenses before. You worked for Kodak after. That is, like I said earlier in the chat, you bring a rich history of amazing experiences with you in this family. Both can be very rewarding, Sylvie. I think starting with macro is always it's kind of a harsh thing to say, maybe a bit of a blunt thing to say, but it's always a good thing, especially nowadays, I would say, because we are used to so many visual stimulants. Like, there's too many things we see and don't appreciate, and when you're forcing yourself to look through a macro lens, you're forced to look at details and to appreciate literally the small things. And I think when you start with that and then zoom out and see the bigger picture, you still have that eye for details. I think that's a it is a good way. It's not the best way, maybe. There can be more ways, but it's a very good way to start learning photography. I once gave a workshop, and it was about these kind of things, like appreciating the beauty in man-made things, because appreciating the beauty in nature it's too easy. like what isn't beautiful in nature, but appreciating the beauty of man-made things, we take it for granted way too easy. So in the workshop, I had like the group first assignment. I want you to come back with pictures of everything you kind of recognize something human in it, like a face or shape of anything kind of similar, or that you think is kind of similar to things you would recognize into a human, like expressions or face, or like the design of a car, like the front of a car or a building, or just a door handle, anything that has some resemblance to that. Take pictures of it, and I want to have at least 15 things. Which forced people to look at things differently. So that was like a really kind of childish first step on, you know, just opening your eyes, opening it to and kind of start appreciating what you see around you. And with photography, I think looking at life that way is just kind of the basics. But for us humans to appreciate art, especially when you have no background in it, sometimes really hard to kind of build up that tolerance for it, that it doesn't bore you, but it can only get more interesting. But you know, convincing people of that takes baby steps, but I think it's really worth it. Wow, that is quite something. Wow. Still needs a little bit more red. Let's make that a group gathering, Sylvie. Because I would love to be part of that as well. So for those of you who don't have a lot with photography, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to kind of recreate Quinacridone Gold, or something that kind of feels and works like Quinacridone Gold, with just using two pigments that we have plenty of still, that are not going to be discontinued and are readily available in on most brands and most media as well. Arnhem it's a nice city, but it's not. I wouldn't say if you visit the Netherlands, you should visit Arnhem. I wouldn't say that. If you're interested in, especially like the things with the war and things like that, there's loads of history to be found, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's especially for people who have to travel really far, that this is the city you all should visit. That's fine by me, for me. It's the aperture, yeah, Sylvie. Groningen is spelled correctly, yes. This looks more like it. Sorry, I was off camera. I'm afraid if I add any more of the burnt sienna, I will make it like too muddy, too opaque-ish. I don't want to do that. Oh, that is way too much. I thought I had a wash there. Yeah, Paolo, PBR7 and PY150. And I know you know we can get, you can get pretty close with mixes, but I was thinking just use two things that are sorry, I'm kind of getting this. This is not. It's like it's almost ish there. Ish. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to put it there. I'm going to let it dry because that also will have a drying shift, and we'll have a look what that does. PY150 is a very staining yellow pigment. For me, it's almost like highlighter yellow. What I see on my slab, whereas for you, it's like a warmish orangey yellow. It isn't. This is yellow. Yeah, might need a touch of, yeah. But this is something I will do in a different stream or for a different video. I have to look up an iron oxide, whether a natural or a synthetic iron oxide that is both transparent and has like an orange quality to it, and leans enough to the red side of the orange for it not to be too yellow in the mix. For now, it's too yellow, but I don't think that's a bad thing, since I've seen, like, I think the Quinacridone Gold that I use is like from the same batch or is the same kind of Quinacridone Gold as the one that Guerra uses. I know Daniel Smith's version of the one that they had a large stock of. It was more yellowish. It was more that vibrant yellow that we have from the Nickel Azo yellow in this mix. It had that same quality to it. So I think that the mix I just made looks more like the Daniel Smith version of Quinacridone Gold than my version. But I know that there's a lot of people looking for that version. So I actually hope that the Guerra PO49 Deep was that version. But unfortunately, it's I wouldn't say it's exactly the same. There's a slight difference, but as you saw on the spectrometer, it's barely noticeable. I have no idea if there's someone here in the chat. Please let me know if you have it. A swatch, a dot would be fantastic. A swatch would be great. Would be good as well. For the I was looking at artistpigments.org, and Here, Daniel Smith only has the mix still, and it actually shows it's like a saddle, like a horse saddle. I don't know. It's like a horse saddle dip. I don't know what they call this. They had a word for it when I was looking into photo spectrometry. I'm getting tired. Notice that from my speech. So this part here, this lot of dent here, that comes from the PO48. And in this curve here, like it goes up, then it has like a kind of a dent, like a saddle, and then it goes up again, saddle because it's flat in a curve, in the middle of a curve. That shows you, most of the time, that shows you that it's a mix. Usually it's very clear in oranges. So when you have a yellow, mostly around the 600, between 600 and 630, 40 nanometers over here, it shows you that like there's a saddle in the curve over there. It shows you a mix between a yellow and a red, whereas the same orange would have been like a fully rounded curve with no nooks or crannies, whereas these do have that. This one more though. More of a shoulder than a saddle. Yeah, I don't know. I was reading spectrometry stuff before I got my nicks, and I read the word a saddle a few times when people were mentioning that shape in a curve. I'm going to put this in a pen. Going to put it in a mix pen because the dot pen, that's too small for a dot pen. These are going to dry up too flat, so the drying shift is great in this one. This is going to dry up a little bit warmer, so I'm going to let this dry and compare it to the Quinacridone Gold. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to look for a pen for it. Mix. There we go. I'm just pouring this all in, trying to pour it all in one pen. I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's just an experiment. And this is very fluid paint. So this pen is kind of just, full. That will barely cover the bottom, I think, when it's dry. Putting this over here. And there's one thing I'm still, and one fell over. Still found one over here. This is one thing I do when I make each batch of pigment, each batch of binder. Another quality test that I've never shared with you. Thank you, Gulchen. I will do that when it's dry. When I finish every batch of binder, I put it in a tube like this to see how it settles. So if there's any residue, just settling down on the bottom like this. It's clarity, and also if I get complaints about my paint, if there's anything wrong, I have a batch of binder still of that batch. I need to I can use to check if it's the binder or not. when I don't. So I've had a few of these already. I will throw it all in one batch and use it with the rest of my binder, because there's still, you know, you can make quite a lot of pens out of this tube. But this will stay, you know, here for a few months like this, and I was like on my desk because I still need to write the date on this. But yeah, so that there's that part which I've never shared with you, because I'd usually just throw it in a drawer because I can forget about it, hopefully, because there won't be anything wrong. So yeah, Sylvie's I'm going as well, like in 5 minutes. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you Gulchen for saying that. Appreciate it. So this is PY150 plus PBR7 from, is this Lucas? Yes. Okay. Only writing PBR7 on it isn't enough. I have like 100 of these PBR7s without mentioning which kind of pigment it is. Let's have a look if I can open up NYX. I can absolutely do that, and I will share the screen with you. And I will first do the mass tone of it. Why I need to... I just used it, really? I literally just used it. How? This is happening since the update. It's asking for calibration more often, which isn't a bad thing, necessarily. It's really easy to do. But now it's annoying. Pillars Jack, welcome. I'm still not away, so you please feel free to catch up with the chat. I've just calibrated it, so let's have a look what it does. Let's share the screen with you as well. So yeah, there's a quite noticeable difference there. Oh, you're from Australia. Okay, so it's quite early for you now, I think. Is it? I don't know how much time difference there is. Let's have a look at the wash. Oh, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. So this is the wash of the thing I just made, the mix. It has like a weird hobble in it. And this is my original, which also has a weird thing in it, but it's a different weird. Let's look at this. Right, so this part over here, is there a big mouse? Big mouse, yes, there it is. This part over here. Let's look at that color and how that changes. This was the original Quinacridone Gold wash, and this is... It leans a little bit more to the green side. So it's still too yellow. It needs more orange, indeed, Gulchen. But it's more than that. So it needs... Definitely needs something warmer, but also very transparent. No, I don't think I'm going to make that with the burnt sienna I'm using right now. But that is something for a different day. As I said, getting very tired. I've been live for 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I think that is enough for one day. I would like to thank everyone for joining. Thank you for all the new people in the chat. Pelorus Jack, thank you for joining. Everyone else, Gulchen, Sylvie, Paolo, Sentience, Ian, everyone else who I've missed right now in the kind of recent chat. Oh, still looking for my mouse here. Yes, there it is. Polaris Jack, I also have 2 PO49s and they are quite different. Drying shift goes almost brown in one I got from America, but one from Italy remains some of it orange. Are we talking pigments or paint? Just curious. Have a good night, everyone. For those of you who are going, feel free to go. You know what? I'm going to just put on the thank you screen. Paint. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe we can find a way to exchange swatches or something like that. Have a look. I'm going to go offline. I'm going to put on my thank you screen. I'll leave the chat open for a minute. Thank you everyone so much for joining. I could probably be online somewhere again this week, or maybe in the weekend in the morning, to accommodate some of the people on the other side of the world. If that's preferable, I can definitely do that. Otherwise, hopefully see you soon next Wednesday. I will put an update somewhere here on or on Instagram if I'll be live again anytime before that. Otherwise, hopefully I see everyone again next Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. See you next time.